This is Susan Bassi. I want to take you on a First Amendment audit of California's courts, and I want to show you how accessible those courts are to the public. 70% of people in California have to represent themselves in court, be their own lawyer. And under the law, lawyers are to be treated the same as everybody else. Let's see how well that's working out.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your badge number. Do you mind giving it to me? I'm assuming he's a witness to that conversation. What is his name and badge number?
His name is Deputy Hernandez. I don't know his badge number.
Deputy Hernandez, what is your badge number?
Ms. Bassi, you can't record in court.
2390.
Thank you.
So on Thursday, December 12th, I was recording out on a public sidewalk, and I ran into John Perot.
Susan Bassi, is this your attorney? He's on YouTube.
I expressly do not consent to you
You're in
filming
public,
me. I do
on
not
a sidewalk.
consent to you filming
You don't need to. Did you know that you're pleading about somebody trying to be a court watcher in front of Judge Gurley just made it into an anti-Slapp today, and that Jeff Rosen's been subpoenaed to testify, and that you're about to be subpoenaed on that as well? Do you remember telling me in that very courthouse that you were alerting Judge Gurley to the fact that there were court watchers watching her? Do you remember that little pleading? Do you? In the case you're in with DJ Faden? Do you remember that?
So
you hit me
you're
with your briefcase, by the way.
You're being harassing?
No, I'm
and
not.
I don't agree to this.
You don't need to agree to it. I'm walking on a public sidewalk. There is 3 feet away from us. Do you have something to say about it? Because you're about to be highlighted all over YouTube. Do you remember telling me that in the courthouse? Because I actually have film of you telling me that you alerted Judge Gurley in ex parte communication that there were people court watching, and you tried to discredit opposing counsel to make more money. Do you remember that? Do you know that your pleading is in a court file related to an anti-Slapp, along with Valerie Houghton's? Do you know the attorneys in this area are in trouble? Have a nice day, Mr. Perot.
The Judicial Council of California is a constitutional body, and it consists of judges, lawyers, and court executive officers who work in the branch.
Ms. Crawford, do you have a comment about marrying the former husband of your client?
Okay, let's keep
She
walking.
wants to videotape me?
Are you with media?
I am with the media. I'm a member of the press.
Okay.
So she wants to record me, I'll record her.
I've already told you not to say anything, so please stay away from me.
I'm just asking you for comment. It's my journalistic responsibility to ask you for comment.
Outside the Monterey County Courthouse, and we have a pen from Miss Deborah Crawford. And you just told me that you had been in court today. I'll let that pass. And you watched a hearing for Julie Law.
Yes.
And Deborah Crawford was there. And when she left the courthouse, you told me that you had hired Deborah Crawford for your daughter.
Yes, years ago.
And
12 years ago, or actually it's probably more like 10.
so 10 years ago, and that might have been about the time she was representing Julie Law, because she represented Julie Law in 2008. Is that about the time you hired her?
Yes.
And she took $5,000 from you.
She said she wanted 5,000. I never gave her the 5,000.
How much did you give her?
I think we gave her about 15.
And you hired her to do what?
To help in my daughter's custody case with her now 12-year-old daughter.
And did she help?
I soon learned that, what's the best way to say it? I don't think she really cared if my daughter got custody or not. She just wanted the money because she was not representing my daughter. When we got into court, I seen her talking with the other side. And I mean, you want to talk about a trust issue, you know, and it felt that she was like friends with them. Not that I wanted them to be enemies, but it just made me think she's not working in my daughter's best interest.
And you said you hired her because she seemed familiar with the court investigators, and did you know that at the time when you hired her?
No, and that was kind of what I learned later. And you know, some incidents had went down in the courtroom because the other grandmother on the other side is very violent, and she would aggressively attack me or say little snippets in the hallway. and it just wasn't good. And like I said, the thing that we wanted the most was someone that was going to be really hardcore representing us, and we learned that it appeared she was working both sides. And of course that family had more money.
So there is kind of a perception that, like we talked about, it's very money dependent. And it does seem that the side with the most money or access to the most money is getting the rulings in these court cases.
Right.
And it's almost as if the attorneys have an agreement that, oh, we've got the client with the most money, so we know we're going to lose this one, and next time you might get the one with the most money.
Yes. And that's what I've seen across the board lately is there's no oversight or accountability in the court system. It's like they're fixed. They're fixed. I mean, you see the judge and the attorneys go in closed session without their clients being there to talk about the case. Then court comes back into session, and they've already kind of really made the decision. I'm not a stupid woman.
So when you watched Julie's hearing today, she needed eyes in there, and you came into the court today to watch for her. What did you see?
I came in, I got here approximately at 8:40, and I observed, because we all had to stand in the hallway because the courtroom was not open yet, Department 16, and I already knew who Miss Crawford was because I dealt with her before, and I observed them all being catty, chit-chatty, laughing, and it was unfortunate for me because I know the other side of the story, and I really felt sorry for Miss Law because I could tell from their demeanor it was like a joke to them.
When judges and lawyers think that the rule of law is a joke and that courts exist for their friendships rather than for the people accessing the courts, public trust and confidence in our legal system is lost.
Hi.
I was shutting
Hi.
off my phone and she was.
I don't know what the court clerk is doing in there. I've done a formal media request. I have an email from your CEO, and I know him. He's a reporter.
Let me talk with him.
I'm a publisher. That's fine, but I'd like to speak with you because I'm having.
Let me talk.
Sure, I'll sit over here.
And when we get search warrants which allow us to open phones and look for specific evidence, the search warrants lay out what in particular we can look for, because people's cell phones have all kinds of information on it, and search warrants are constructed specifically to comply with the California Electric Communications Privacy Act to be specific as to what we can look at on the cell phone.
Is there any way that can be enforced, Mr. Rosen? I mean, other than the honor system, basically?
Well, number one, when somebody is looking on a phone, there's a record of what is being looked at. And so if your question is there can a group of individuals engage in a conspiracy to violate the law? The answer is yes, and that's why I'm employed as the district attorney, because people do that quite often.
Speaking of the conspiracies that people do quite often, we're investigating Jeff Rosen and other private divorce attorneys who are involved in one such conspiracy, a conspiracy related to acting as private judges or minors' counsel in divorce and custody cases, and where the DA's office is involved.
Hi, I'm Judge Steve Austin, Superior Court of Contra, Costa County.
5, 6, 7, 8. The system is rigged. The system is rigged. 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. We're coming to abolish your system. We're coming to abolish your system. Serve the DA. Serve the
Judges. Yeah, serve them.
Serve the DA. Serve the DA. You are? We know that the system is corrupt. We know that the system is rigged against parents. And we know that when you take our children, we have a worse outcome for these kids than even if their parents were abused. The system abuses Mr. Peterson, what do you think about the charges?
Mr. Peterson, are you going to be held accountable for your crimes? Mr. Peterson. You should resign, Mark Peterson. Resign. You got enough corruption. You should go to jail.
Mr. Peterson, what do you think about the charges?
Mr. Peterson, are you going to be held accountable for your crimes? Mr. Peterson. You should resign, Mark Peterson. Resign. You got enough corruption. You should go to jail. Our next speaker is Charles Smith. He's former chief steward of AFSCME Local 444 and a member of the United Public Workers for Action. Welcome, Charles Smith. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to say a few words about Richmond and the connection with this guy here, the bum, sometimes known as D.A. Peterson, and how these stories began to crack his facade. And it's mostly responsible because of women in Richmond. The first woman to stand up that I've seen in 40 plus years against the corruption at Richmond City Hall was a woman named Stacy Plummer. And Stacy Plummer blew the whistle on the assistant personnel manager. And they turned the tables on her and tried to drive her out, but she wouldn't be driven out, and she fought back. Ultimately, they got rid of the assistant personnel manager. Plus, she got a settlement because after they got rid of her, they attacked Stacy. The next person that made a difference was a woman named Harris, Amy Harris. And she's the one that broke the story about what was going on at the public housing hacienda.
And I'm Judge Erica Yu, Superior Court.
Judge Erica Yu is a Santa Clara County judge who has failed to follow the law when appointing private judges in divorce and custody cases. She is in the upper echelons of California's judicial management, and yet she was the judge that came forward to fight the audit of the CJP, the state watchdog that disciplines judges in the state.
Please stop recording.
Right now, I am trying to do my job.
Stop recording.
I heard you.
Okay. Stop recording.
I heard you.
As early as 2015, the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office began to get complaints about private judges. The law requires this list to be posted in a courthouse, a list that shows the cases that are moved from public court to private court, where attorneys get to act as judges by a simple court order. And yet Judge Yu and all the other judges in Santa Clara County were not doing what they were supposed to do to follow the law. They were moving these cases out to lighten their workload and to make more money for attorneys that they partied with and hung out with and were friends with. In 2017, the list was 3 pages. It had never been posted before. Sharon Roper posted the list, omitting 95% of the cases. In 2019, the list had grown to 11 pages, and still 90% of the cases that we found were missing. This is not hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is millions of dollars. Kickbacks, favors, bribes to private attorneys and judges who are making their appointments. Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen knew that his own employees, who were snitches and corrupt, were benefiting from these private judges as well. And he has been subpoenaed.
Mr. Rosen, are you aware that Mr. Borski refused to answer my questions at the press conference regarding Bambi Larson when I was asking questions on behalf of victims? Mr. Rosen, what do you have to say about people telling you, paying for you to have bodyguards to keep you from the press? Sir, who employs you? Mr. Rosen, how much did it cost you to go to Germany to talk about the prisons in Germany and then quash the sheriff's budget and claim that you're serving victims when you know you're not? Mr. Rosen, you are failing victims in this county. You are lying about what you are doing. You are stealing state and federal money.
Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen has been subpoenaed in a civil case for Monday, December 16th in Judge Overton's court. Also subpoenaed are 2 of his former employees, Nita Redmond and Sahir Stefan. These 2 employees were having an affair while they were employed in the DA's office. And during that time, they trafficked the victim of the Richmond Police Department that you heard mentioned earlier in this video. Over 12 Bay Area police officers sodomized, sexually assaulted, and raped an underage girl. These two moved her out of state so she could not testify against the police officers. Jeff Rosen knew it, and he tried to cover it up. His director of victim services, Casey Halcone, allegedly got Nita Redmond a job at Facebook where she is earning over $200,000 a year. Also, Nita was put into private judging for her own divorce when this sexual affair between her and her boss in the DA's office was discovered by her husband. Her divorce was settled in 6 months, and it was before private judge Ed Mills and assisted by Sharon Roper. Sharon Roper never put that case on any of the lists that she published in 2017 or in 2019. She secreted this case, just as she secreted other cases of judges and lawyers. On Monday, December 16th, Judge Overton will decide if it's a matter of public interest that these two testify and Jeff Rosen testify. The county counsel, Ward Penfold, has made a request to quash the subpoenas of Jeff Rosen. Please share this video and tell Judge Overton that it's a matter of public interest that the district attorney testify in this matter so the truth can finally come out and the corruption that's in the DA's office can finally be revealed.
How you and Terry Harmon let down the victim?
Have a nice day.
You too, Mr. Rosen. And how much are you paying your bodyguards? I guess we'll be doing a records request for that.
Failure.
I hope your children will be proud of your legacy, Mr. Rosen. I don't think they will be when I get done.
Thank you for watching this video, and please share it so that on Monday, December 16th, we can tell Judge Overton that it's a matter of public interest that Jeff Rosen finally be called to testify and answer for what he's been doing in the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office.